And 3, 2, 1. Tavor Radio is on the air, and killed the echo. Take 2. This is broadcast is going to cover Tavor, current optics, current events, optics, accessories, Tavor rifle, everything about Tavor, news and information that I can piece together in a really short broadcast. I'm not going to cover any politics or anything like that, just what's happening in the Tavor rifle world. So let's start off with, if you want to watch all the current stuff in Gaza and Israel, and you can tune into the IDF has a YouTube channel. You should check out all the naval gun footage, aerial, drone photography, and airstrikes and stuff. You just go to IDFNA desk. I think that's for the Israel Defense Force North American desk. IDFNA desk. That's the YouTube channel. Or you can check out debka.com. And they're not always right, but they have a lot of information, and it's kind of like a little news channel, and usually has a unique perspective from the Middle East. But if you want to keep up on the politics and current events of stuff that's happening there. But with regard to the rifle, moving on. Issue number 1 is a special alert. There we go. There's a sound effect. If you have ordered an M5 optic from some, it's a Mepro M5 optic. Some websites have it for sale. Get your money back. They're not even going to be shipped to the United States for sale. Which brings us to so get your money back, and it's like, the joke's on you. They're not being shipped, the M5 to the United States. So get your money back. What is being shipped to the United States eventually, it's still on pre-order, is from Mako Defense, and it's their you bring up just put on the website here. Okay, guys, it's the True Dot RDS Red Dot site with 1.8 MOA Red Dot. I guess they call it RDS for short, and it's basically on pre-order. If I understand correctly, it works on 2 commercial batteries, AA. And has 4 optic settings, and basically it looks a little like an MSE, but not really. And it's only $400, and you can pre-order it. The first 1,000 units, or so-called special edition, is I think that's going to have the aluminum tops, because that brings us to our next subject pretty much, which is the IDF 20,000. IDF has an open tender offer. There's a competition going on. They want to buy 20,000 units to as kind of an update or replacement, or as to go alongside with the M21s from Eprilite, and so which that is like the next issue. So if I can get used to this flipping back and forth, there we go. The IDF competition, they have, it's between, I guess, Aimpoint, Meprilite, Trigicon, and Star Defense with their MSE AQC site. And maybe, who knows, that's probably the main leading contenders. Now, I would assume that since the Meprilite Sammy Katzoff group this is one big conglomerate that owns Israel, makes Navy ships and stuff like that, and they make the IWI. They own IWI as well as Meprilite. It's all one big conglomerate, and because they have sold the last optic M21, that they would be the leading contender. But obviously the other three contenders that I mentioned, Aimpoint, Trichicon, and Start Events MSE, AQC, they're going to be in the running too. And the M5 is they're offering to the IDF. And so, like I said, the first 1,000 are going to have like aluminum that gets not the M5, the RDS is going to be for sale in America, and because that's I think what the IDF wanted originally, and so they had a few. I think they had a few extra aluminum tops, and I got to put them somewhere. And then IDF switched it to polymer, so they said no, they changed the specs on them. So anyway, whether that's accurate or not, I'm not sure, but we'll see soon enough. And the first 1,000 RDS that will be available in America will be, I think, aluminum tops, and everything after that will be polymer. So, but they're on back order now, and eventually, if you order one, you'll get one, I suppose. But if you ordered an M5, get your money back. They're not going to be available in America. So, as far as when the competition is going to be over, I have no idea. It would appear, the article appears in IsraelDefense.com, and so you can check out check it out there. There's an article about the 20,000 unit IDF tender offer, and there's an article about Sammy Katzoff. It's pretty interesting. He has been an arms dealer for a long time. He's obviously owns that Sammy Katzoff Group, which is a conglomerate that owns IWI and Repolite, and I think Israel and Navy Defense is a contractor for Navy, and God knows what else. But so check that out. There's an article about him. He had sold a long time ago. Used to be an arms dealer to the Shah of Iran, and he sold stuff to the Shah, and sold a lot of Cold War weapons when they were supposed to be facing the Soviet Union, which no longer exists, and they wound up being used by the Revolutionary Guard in the Iraq-Iran War. So anyway, he sold Iran a lot of stuff back to the Shah when the Shah was running Iran, and so anyway, that's that story. So who knows who's going to win this competition? I don't have an axe to grind. I don't cheer on any particular manufacturer. I have an MSE and I really like it. So that being said, I wanted everybody to check out the bullpupforum.com if you want to keep up on Tavor issues. They've got they've got a category for every site, for every kind of bullpup, and there's a lot of accessory manufacturers that are on there with rails and optics and triggers that you can get, but a lot of them are in the pre-production stage, and you might be able to get a deal on a waiting list. Me myself, I don't like being a guinea pig. I like somebody else to test out the problems and the bugs. I learned that when I used to run an audio facility, and you don't want to be on the bleeding edge of technology, but some people don't mind. If you want the latest and greatest stuff before it's latest and greatest perfected stuff, and then you can definitely get on some pre-orders for new triggers and new rails and stuff at the Bullpup Forum. So let me try and do a screen share of that forum real quick for you guys. Let's see. All right, where's the screen share button on this sucker? Screen share. Start screen share. Okay, there it is. Bullpup Forum. Check it out. As you can see, there's a lot of IWI and you see Bullpup Armory, and it's sponsored. That particular forum is sponsored by a lot of companies, and it's popular. And there's a lot of really smart people on there. So I hate to rush everybody on YouTube over there, but yeah, check it out. There's a lot of experienced people on that channel, and reps from the different companies. Check out that page from time to time. I think it's the Bullpup Armory. Sell stuff on there too. You can see what they offer. But it's definitely one of the channels I check out, Bullpup Forum, and and obviously Mako Defense is imports all the where's the Mako Defense? Send the screen share. There's the optics from Mako. It's on $400. It's on a back order. Get back to my YouTube broadcast page here and pop that out. Okay, so that's how that goes. Let's see, we covered the IDF, the recall or the non-deliverance of M5s. Get your orders back on that. The IDF competition, we don't know when that's going to actually end. I'm going to, let everybody know about it because it's a 20,000 unit contract. And so the next issue would be, let's see, there's a company called Gearhead that it has a new top rail, and so it's gonna, yay, top rails. So Gearhead top rails, they've got a new top rail that they're also doing pre-orders on. It raises the level. It's like a half-size rail that raises the level. So it's kind of like having a riser, but just the whole rail is risen. And there's also a couple new triggers that are out there. ART for sale on Shooting Sight. But again, that's another pre-production. They're still fine-tuning that, and so, so that brings us to ergonomics, and that's the whole thing about what you do with your Tavor and how you carry it, and the whole field of view debate and stuff like that. Now, there's basically Israeli style, which has like, I don't know, it's 7 points of contact or whatever the heck it is. I kind of feel like a pretzel when I hold it Israeli style, but because you have so many points of contact, you're twisting your body around the rifle, but it's very stable that way, which is important for your muzzle not to rise. And then there's American style, which is where you kind of don't have so many contacts and you're holding it more like a AR. And then there's with a foregrip, and I found that to be, just looking at other people, the least stable version, a way to hold that particular rifle. And although maybe it's the most comfortable, but I mean, keeping the barrel steady is kind of important. And if you're running and gunning, and that brings us to the whole field of view thing. It's pointed out to me that the whole field of view thing is when you're running with your barrel up at angles to a target, or running through a field, or on uneven ground, it gets, you're not going to have a perfect cheek weld. You're not going to be in a perfect firing position all the time, even if you have your muzzle up and aimed in the general direction of where your targets are. So your red dot may be jumping around if you're running through buildings, over field. I mean, I know where I train, there's so many rocks, it's just so uneven. If you up in Manuka, I mean, if you run and gun up there, I mean, you're going to trip and fall on the ground if you don't look where you're going to, and not just at your target. So it might be difficult to keep the, and that's where having a bigger field of view helps you keep the red dot in front of you, and looking. And if you have a perfect cheek weld, then maybe the field of view, having a bigger field of view on your red dot might not mean so much. But and then if you're moving, like modern warfare is a lot of movement, and especially since this is like Tavor's urban rifle, urban combat, close-in rifle where you hold it close into the body. It's kind of designed for that kind of thing, and so I don't know. Seems like a wider field of view would be an advantage for moving and firing at the same time. You're just sitting on a bench and shooting at a range, and that's probably won't matter. So that being said, I'm definitely looking forward to the results from that competition. And it was mentioned on the IsraelDefense.com website. And so I hope in the future to get some of the gear manufacturers on, and just let them talk about what they're doing, what they're making. And but I'm going to be up at the range this week, shooting more video on all my guns. And Tavor is always a fun rifle to shoot, and I'm going to do some moving and shooting and uh, see exactly. Check out. I want to have a more first-hand view of the field of view issues, and because we really don't have like a a kill house setup or anything like that. There, it's just an open field and set up multiple targets, but it's a lot of rough territory. If I go when there's nobody there, could do all kinds of stuff. But anyway, that's let's see, what else do we have to cover here? I think that's pretty much it. Let's see, I'm gonna grab some coffee. Something else will occur to me, I'm sure. Right, the IWI IMI, I mean 77 grain razor ammo. Now, okay, so the Tavor has a 1 in 7 twist, right? And the I've been having since Widener's, who carries it, Widener's doesn't drop ship to San Francisco, where my local gun dealer does his drop ships. Then I have to try and call up one of the other gun shops in on the Big Island, on the other side probably, and see if they can import it. But the whole thing is it's 77 grain. It does better with a 1 in 7 twist, and the IMI guys are saying that for if you want to do long range shooting, use the 77 grain to go with the 1 in 7 twist in the Tavor. So I'm going to be trying to get my hands on that somehow. It hasn't been easy so far, but I'll keep at it and let you guys know how that turns out for me. If anybody else has actually shot any of that stuff, let me know. I'd like to hear what your long-range groupings are. Myself, my Tavor is set up for CQB only, and that's how that goes. And I haven't done any real long-range shooting with it yet. So, but I seem to do great with close range. I hit everything I aim at, and it's just a lot of fun shooting. One issue somebody had, somebody else who bought a Tavor on the Big Island wasn't careful, and they would try to pound that little pin, that set pin, when you disassemble it to clean it. There's the control group, hey, it's not as easy as an AK. Nothing as easy as disassembling an AK, but the control group pin or whatever. There's basically, when you take it apart, you take out the firing, pin, not the firing, but the whole little control group. You can take it out, clean it, and then you pop out the pin. When you put it back together, the slide, the thing has to be, you basically have to finagle it. That's the Yiddish word, and it has to be, the parts have to be sitting at the exact right distance as the rod. If it's not sitting just right, the pin won't go in. So don't try and force it in. When it's just right, you'll push it in. I think I spent 5 minutes at it, and then I took a slight break, and then I spent another 5 minutes, and it went in. So I haven't quite got the hang of it, but I didn't break the pin like the other guy. So I just finagled with it, and I didn't force it. I think after it's in, you do just kind of give it a tiny little tap with brass gunsmith thing, but basically you don't force that thing in when you disassemble it to clean it in that little pin that sets the control group or whatever you want to call it. So let's see, cleaning, ammo, accessory rails. So they have that. Basically, they have a short, and they're going to have a long rail, and for it too. And so that's the whole thing with the ergonomics. I haven't figured out yet, when you start raising, the whole thing is that the optics sit lower. If you just mount it without a riser, on Tavor, the optics are going to sit lower than on an AR. And so a lot of people use risers. Now I saw like the IDF Bedouin, they actually have an Air Bedouin tribe up on the north of the border with Lebanon, you know. There's a lot of factions up there, but they've been, you know, in the IDF forever, I guess. It's a tradition, and yes, that's right, an Arab Bedouin tribe, and their video on the IDF website had IDF-NA desk. I saw that they had, you know, it seemed like pretty high risers, you know, almost like there was like a extra Picatinny rail, and it was more than just a little risen, and so it was like they definitely weren't, you know, cranking their necks over to the right to get right in back of the optic without any risers, but it was pretty high, it looked to me. And so I haven't decided, you know, I'm interested in other people's opinions. Do I kind of like it low, but you know, right is even close to the barrel as possible. But you know, I totally understand why you just would want to bring up the rifle and have it instantly come up to your, you know, perfect shooting position up to your eyes and line up with your eyes. And like, you know, if I'm shooting my AK, if you look at me shooting, my head will be more, you know, straight up and down. If I'm shooting my Tavor without any risers, it's cranked all the way to the right. So that might cause a brief delay in if I'm just putting the rifle up from, you know, just like a slung position and getting it ready to go. So I haven't decided to go with any risers or a rail. I think I'm going to let everybody else test it out. But I'm interested in what other people's opinions are with regard to risers and, you know, where they like, what height they like putting their optics at, their red dots at. And I mean, if you're using a scope, that's one thing, you know. But if you're using a riser, then I was kind of curious what heights people would be using. That's that. Let's see. I've seen there's some pretty good paint jobs, you know, that I've seen on the. I mean, I like my tiger stripes, you know, but there's some pretty good paint jobs that I've seen. There's one cryptic that's pretty cool, and some multicam stuff that's on the. They have a Tavor in the IWI Bullpup forum. The IWI Tavor subsection has like a picture thread, and there's a lot of good pictures there that people have. So definitely check that out. And I think that's pretty much it for the first Tavor Radio broadcast. See who I can get on next time. I'm gonna check into my check the chat, see if there's anything there, but I doubt it. Yeah, so let's see what else has been happening in the world. Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen over there in Israel and stuff. Speaking for myself, I'm grandson of Holocaust survivors, so I'm kind of going to be on Israel's side pretty much 99% of the time. But you know, I understand that it's a world full of people out there who don't agree. So that's the way it is. But that was one reason I actually wanted this cool Israeli rifle. You know, I'm a recreational shooter. I don't want to ever have to go into combat. I mean, anybody that wants to go into combat is crazy. You don't want to. If you have to go into combat, you have to go into combat, obviously. But I don't think it's something that anybody would want to actually have to do. So, you know, I hope one day peace is restored. You know, but here in America, we can have fun just, you know, with the sporting aspect of it. And so that's why I like to follow what's happening with the, you know, with Tavor rifles and optics, accessories and ammo. You know, and I think for close range, you know, 223 is probably just fine. You know, whatever. I mean, obviously the 5.56 has, you know, a little more power if you're, you know, using it for self-defense or, you know, but I think most of the 223 is just going to be fine for, you know, plinking or close range practice. And again, for long range, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on the 77 grain at some point. I haven't figured out how to do it yet, get it on the Big Island, but I'm working on it. And as far as all the red dot optics, I think either of those are good. You're gonna be good choices, but keep an eye on Israel Defense, and I guess either Trijicon or Aimpoint or Meprolite or MSC is going to announce it if they win the contract. And I kind of my guess would be that because they have the M21 optic has been the standard issue with Tavors for the IDF, that they would have an inside track on winning that particular competition. But we'll see. I am stoked with my MSC. I seem to hit everything I aim at, and I hadn't had any problems with it. And it's really, really nice. Worked nice for me, but hey, I've never tried the M21. I don't get to buy every optic I want and try it. I pick the best one, and that I think is the best one. Go with that. And when I am giving some thought though to when they come out with the new risers and that new rail like Gearhead. It's going to be worth a look, and I'd like to see some run and gun, and people who've done some run and gun, with it, and see how it goes. But again, this is all new stuff, and being a guinea pig, not always the best thing, but anyway, I thank all y'all for watching this Tavor, listening to this Tavor Radio first edition here, and inauguration, and hopefully had some information for you on there. And check out the Bullpup forum. Check out Mako, the Mako group. Let me make sure I get that website. It's commandarms.com. Has some really cool countdown mags and stuff on there that you can use for the Tavor. And okay, the MakoGroup.com is the Mako group. They've got all their they've got the Mepro True Dot pre-orders for $400. The MSC has dropped the price. It used to be like $1,000 or $1,100 per site, and now it's down to $700, which is I think what I paid a long time ago when they had a batch up for sale on Primary Arms, and that was with a PTT, which I don't use because it's too short. It's just for a Roni PTT cable for an MSC, but the PTT cable, I'm pretty sure that the one that comes with the with the M21, I saw that they have one available for like a foot long, which is you can actually design for use with a Tavor, and that little thing that comes with the MSC is only for like a Roni or something like that. Yeah, so that's still my pet peeve. I haven't seen one available. Come on, Command Arms. Come on, Star Defense. If they get the Tavor contract, then we're gonna have to have a longer cable. But I think they're on the K version. I prefer like the Mepro True Dot. It's working off 2AA, and I really like the CR123 better because they have more environmental, it does well in different environments and colder weather and stuff. And there is actually cold weather on parts of the island. If you go up high enough, there's snow. There was actually somebody that got caught in a whiteout, and you had to climb out of a whiteout, and they had to send up a rescue team to get them, up at the top of the summit, up there by where the telescopes are. But that's Hawaii for you. So this is Steve at Hawaii Volcano Squad, and I'm going to see about if I could press the right button to conclude this chat. Thanks for watching, and aloha.